Hello everyone, we're going to talk about the wonderful state of Virginia today. So let's take a look at some pictures. This is, I'm very familiar with, Colonial Williamsburg. I had the chance of going there. Didn't spend a ton of time, but I got to walk around and I ate at one of their, they call them taverns, the restaurants there, and they make it look like it's during those times. So it's really fun to go. It might be that place right there that I went actually. So it's like walking through history. That's really, really neat. Highly recommend you go there. There's another picture from Colonial Williamsburg. All the people that work there dressed up just like they do in those times. These are little opossum babies that can dangle by their tails. Aren't they cute? But their bodies are too heavy when they're adults. So look out below. There's the Virginia flag. It says Sic Semper Tyrannis. And then it looks like a guy got his foot on top of another guy, so I'd be curious to see what the background is for that information. Almost looks like that's a crown. So it's almost like the man stomping out the one with the crown, which is symbolic of our American Revolution times. State dogs. They have a state dog. It's the American Foxhound. State bird is cardinal. State flower is the American dogwood, and the state quarter says Jamestown on it. Has ships, which makes sense because we had all of our explorers come there. So there you have it. All right. Let's learn about Virginia. So it says, fast facts, nicknamed the Old Dominion State. Statehood 1788, 10th state. Population as of July 2015 is 8,382,993 people. The capital is Richmond. Biggest city is Virginia Beach. The abbreviation is VA. State bird, northern cardinal. And the state flower, American dogwood. History. Experts think the first people to live in what is now Virginia arrived as many as 18,000 years ago. Thousands of years later, Native American tribes such as the Powhatan, Cherokee, Croatoan, and Tuscarora lived on the land. In 1607, Jamestown, the first English colony in what would become the United States, was founded in Virginia. One of the Jamestown settlers, John Smith, was captured by the Powhatans. According to Smith, he was about to be killed when Pocahontas, the chief's daughter, threw herself in front of him to save his life, though historians think this story is unlikely to have happened. In 1776, another famous Virginian, Thomas Jefferson, wrote the Declaration of Independence, and in 1788, following the Revolutionary War, Virginia became the 10th U.S. state. But in 1861, Virginia seceded or withdrew from the Union, what was then the United States. This came at the beginning of the Civil War, a conflict between southern states that wanted to pull out of the Union, including Virginia and the states in the North. Virginia rejoined the Union in 1870, about 5 years after the Civil War ended. Why is it called that? Virginia was named after Queen Elizabeth I, who was called the Virgin Queen. The area that's now Virginia was home to the first English colony in North America, and Virginia was thought of as one of England's dominions or territory. That's why it's nicknamed the Old Dominion State. There's the flag. And the symbols again. Geography and landforms. So as you can see on the map, this is where it's located. Virginia is bordered by West Virginia and Maryland in the north, Maryland and Washington, D.C. and the Atlantic Ocean in the east. It's right there. North Carolina and Tennessee in the south, and Kentucky and West Virginia in the west. Travel the state from west to east, and you'll pass through 5 different geographical areas. Farthest west is the Appalachian Plateau, which is covered in forests, winding rivers, and flat-topped rock. Continue east and you'll cross the Appalachian Ridge and Valley, which is full of caverns, sinkholes, and natural bridges. It's also where you'll find Shenandoah National Park. Farther east is the Blue Ridge, a steep part of the Appalachian Mountains with craggy peaks and deep ravines. It includes Virginia's highest peak, Mount Rogers. Next is the Piedmont, a plain that spreads across most of central Virginia. The Piedmont leads to the Atlantic Coastal Plain, a lowland with swamps and salt marshes that stretches to the ocean. Wildlife. Black bears, Virginia opossums, Virginia northern flying squirrels, and Appalachian cottontails are among the mammals you might see in the state. Bald eagles, golden eagles, and peregrine falcons soar over the area's mountains, while piping plovers and seagulls nest along the coast. Virginia's 28 species of frogs include green tree frogs, mountain chorus frogs, and southern leopard frogs. The poisonous northern copperhead, bright red northern scarlet snake, and eastern glass lizard, a legless lizard that looks like a snake, are some of the reptiles that live in the state. The state's tree varieties include hickory, oak, maple, pine, and magnolia. Here you can also see a dwarf pawpaw, a tree with fruit that tastes like a cross between a banana and a mango. Look for native flowers such as wild columbine, purple milkweed, wild geraniums, and coneflowers. Natural resources. One of Virginia's top natural resources is its forests, which cover 62% of the state. Virginia profits by selling timber, which generates about $17 billion each year. The region is also known for mining coal. Fun stuff. 8 U.S. presidents were born in Virginia. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, James Monroe, William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, Zachary Taylor, and Woodrow Wilson. These presidents' homes are open to visitors, including Washington's home, Mount Vernon. I've been there. Jefferson's home, Monticello. Madison's home, Montpelier. Monroe's home, Highland. Harrison's birthplace, Berkeley Plantation. And Tyler's home, Sherwood Forest Plantation. Many words we use today came from Virginia's Native American languages. Raccoon, moccasin, hickory, moose, skunk, and chipmunk are a few such words. Actors recreate life in Colonial Williamsburg, a working 18th century village where blacksmiths work. Colonial meals are served, and more. Many of the buildings here are the originals from the 1700s. Let's refresh this. We have a bird video. Give me a second to get back down below. So we are going to Barry the Bald Eagle tours Virginia with his friend MC Carla the Cardinal. The buds check out historical landmarks and some goofy animal friends.
Eagle.
Might let it load a little bit. So we saw the cardinal in some other states, but obviously they saved the cardinal one for Virginia, because there's a lot going on in Virginia, that's for sure. All right, let's see if it'll play now.
Hey yo, I'm DJ Pigeon and I'd like to introduce y'all to our national bird. Make some noise for Barry the Bald Eagle, our state-by-state chauffeur. That's right, y'all. What up, what up? Come along with me, my sisters and brothers. We're headed to one of our oldest states, Virginia, a place like no other. Let's give my friend a warm welcome and a southern style holler. She's a state bird of Virginia, a cardinal, and her name is Carla.
Hi, Barry. Welcome to Virginia. We have a long history and a lot of charisma. We're the birthplace of 8 presidents.
Hold on, I'm going to let it load up a little bit. Yes, so Jamestown, well, we're paused there. Jamestown is, that is there, and I've been to that location. I've been pretty much through a lot of Virginia, and I loved it. Lots to see there. I've been to Richmond. I think we stayed there one night, and then I've stayed in near Colonial Williamsburg. We went to Yorktown. You have to go there. And pretty much, yeah, because we did a road trip from North Carolina and then traveled up through Virginia and then ended up in Washington, D.C. is where we ended our trip. And then I've also driven from D.C. another year. When I went to Washington, D.C., we rented a car and drove from there through Virginia down to North Carolina to close to the Atlantic Ocean. So we went a different route, but it was so beautiful. I just remember how green it was, and just I absolutely love driving through there both times that I've been there. So I highly recommend going. Anyway, let's see if that will play now.
Town was the first permanent British settlement. Our nickname is Old Dominion. In honor of Charles II, he was once the King of England. We saw the Revolutionary and the Civil War. We have historical monuments that people love to tour.
Coast to coast, state to state, gonna tell you about a place and what makes it great. So just fly with me, fly with me, fly with me, come on, fly with me. So much history in just one state.
Let's fly to Richmond. It's our capital and it's great. It's got the James River and it's in the state's middle. Hey, do you think you can solve this riddle? What was the capital of the Civil War era Confederacy?
I'm guessing that Richmond is the city.
Yes, Barry, you're really quick.
Well, you were talking about Richmond and it sort of clicked.
Virginia Beach is our most populous city, and we share a border with our nation's capital, Washington, D.C.
Coast to coast, state to state, gonna tell you about a place and what makes it great. So just fly with me, fly with me, fly with me, come on, fly with me.
Virginia's land is super neat. We got the Appalachians and the
All right, sorry about that. I'll let it load up because it seems to be working okay once it does. So yeah, that's the cool thing about Washington, D.C. is it borders up with that. And I think they even have a separate thing on Washington, D.C. I'll have to show you guys that too. So that's important to learn about as well. It's like its own thing. But Virginia is literally across the river. So when I was in D.C., you just, boom, you just go right over, not too far, and you're in another state. So it's all very close.
Big Chesapeake. I got a lot of friends there. It's my jam. From the finfish, blue crabs, oysters, and clam. We have the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Great Dismal Swamp. The Shenandoah Valley is a great place to romp. We host government agencies like the CIA, home to the Pentagon, which is also a shape.
Coast to coast, state to state, gonna tell you about a place and what makes it great. So just fly with me, fly with me, fly with me, come on, fly with me. Coast to coast, state to state, gonna tell you about a place and what makes it great. So just fly with me, fly with me, fly with me, come on, fly with me.
So can you name the 8 presidents from our state?
I'm Barry, of course I can. Washington, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe, Harrison, Tyler, Taylor, and Wilson.
Maybe you can be president.
Can a bird be president?
Well, let's go find out.
So there you have it. Learn a little bit more about Virginia. So I will have more information from the 50 States book. So stay tuned to that. See ya.